why y'all so...
Bro, ça tue, ça blesse, ça flingue. Hey, bro.
Every time.
Welcome back to the Bench Mob Entertainment B&Me podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. We got on today a special one. Y'all know him. This is family. Griffin Prock is in the building for this episode, joined by my fellow co-hosts Greg and Miles. And we'll be posting more of these on Spotify and Apple Podcasts because now Threads is trying to promote podcasts. So I got to go back to posting the audio version. But fellas, how y'all doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be back. You say the best podcast in New Jersey, but we know some things now. You guys are going global. I can't say it on the record right now, but Tone, Greg, and Miles are next up. Everyone that's listening, get ready because the price today is not the price tomorrow going forward, as Tone would say on my show. So shout out to you guys. I'm so hyped to be back. You guys are crushing it. The definition of consistency. So the Proc Flock welcomes you with open arms, and we're excited to have you back, even though it's your show. Just when we post it on my feed, I can't wait to get all those takes across the board because Greg, you know the Proc Flock likes to pick on you a little bit.
Okay, I'll pick on him right back, man. I'm happy to have you here, Griff, today, man. It's a big show. It's a very big show. There's a lot going on. A lot of things going on affecting me personally, right? In my sports fandom life. So I'm excited to get into talking about it, man. And you're in for a good one. You guys are in for a good one today. That's for sure.
Hey, so what Greg is alluding to right here, MVP talk. We were talking about DPOY, the Giants. It's a whole lot going on with that. So if you're a Giants fan and interested in what's going on over there at MetLife, it's going to be its own little mini episode because it's so many different tentacles that come from that situation. Most surprising teams or players in the NBA so far, obviously, for those that might be under a rock, Nico Harrison. He has no job now. He might become a guest on our podcast. Don't know. But he currently is unemployed. So we'll talk about that, break that down, and even rumors of Ty Lue possibly being fired. All that and more on this episode. Starting off with this, though. MVP. Who has the best MVP case? And it's great that we have Griffin Prock on the show because one of the MVP candidates is on his team. So I'm going to let you start it off. Who has the best MVP case?
So it's very fair to bring up Sam Darnold in this conversation because we're talking back-to-back years now where last year we wanted to give it to him, but the defense was really good. And there's a lot of these other pieces out there. And it was like, oh, is it Kevin O'Connell really leading the ship there, just making it easy for him? This year, Darnold's stepping out and doing things. It's not Clint Kubiak's offense that's making him being great. It's him making himself be great. But here's the only problem. We do have a really good defense, one of which, dare I say, top three, if not even higher on some people's lists right now. We're absolutely dominating across the board, which only hurts Darnold's case. Here's what also hurts his case. How good JSN is. That man is always open, always be catching. He's always catching. Like, it's crazy. I have not seen a season like this. I'm so glad he's on my fantasy team. So overall, I can't give Darnold the nod. He's in the running, but I don't want to be biased. I don't want to come off as biased because I think the front runner might be Drake May. Like, I think we need to start having conversations about this because let's just talk about recency. He's coming off of now beating who we thought was kind of in the driver's seat early on in the season in Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. They take care of business there. He's also taken down last year's MVP in Josh Allen a couple weeks back as well. He also doesn't have a ton of weapons. Try to name more than 3 guys on the offense. I'll wait because you can't. It's Ramondre Stevens. Oh, that gets you really excited, right? You see him high up on those leaderboards? No. Stephon Diggs, very solid. What's that other wide receiver? I can't remember. That's the team that he has around him. So Drake May is in front because not only of what he's doing, he's carrying it both with his legs and his arms. And Vrabel, what a breath of fresh air. We talked about that on my show before the season. We just knew this was a little bit different this time. We don't like to give those off-season, preseason kind of hype to teams that are looking to rebuild. But look, they won 4 games barely last year, 3 games maybe if I misquoted that. This year, they're looking like Super Bowl contenders. And that's all because of Drake May. So in my humble opinion, I think Drake's in front right now. And I don't even know if there's really a good argument unless you want to bring up Jonathan Taylor.
Miles, anybody else possibly outside of Drake May you think has the best MVP case? And for those that's watching, you about to have a great episode. That was a Hall of Fame start right there. So this is about to be a great one right here. Take it away, Miles.
I think outside of Drake May, definitely JT. JT's got to be up there. I mean, you have multiple, like 3 touchdown games. He just rushed for almost 250 on a international game. So it's prime time, basically, for everybody waking up on Sunday. And he's running away with the rushing title right now. 15 touchdowns in 10 games, or 9 games, actually. I don't know what else you got to say about this guy. This guy, he could break the record, honestly, if he keeps going at this pace. And I feel like they're going to start leaning more on him to take less off of Daniel Jones because, I mean, these turnovers for him are starting to creep their ugly head back up. So, but another guy I think is a dark horse is Stafford. Like Stafford coming into the year, you know, they're talking about epidurals and his back. Is he going to be able to last this whole season? I passed on him in fantasy because of that. But, like, what is it? I think he's one of the first quarterbacks to have 3 straight 4-touchdown passing games in a row. So, like, this guy is on an unbelievable pace. He's at, 25 touchdowns, 2 picks. When this guy's healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So, I mean, they're in first place. They're tied with you guys, right? I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Stafford definitely deserves more credit for what's going on.
Greg, before you go, and if you have anybody different, I want to add with the Jonathan Taylor case. I think he wins it if he has to do a couple of things. He has to break the record. He has to get the rushing title. And we have to see Daniel Jones continue to be on a decline. Like Griff said in regards of Sam over there in Seattle, you have too many other positive factors that are going to probably have the voters say, not so much. If Daniel Jones continues to play like he's been playing the last couple of weeks and Jonathan Taylor is carrying that offense still, that would make his case that much stronger. If Daniel Jones starts playing like he did in the first half of the season, then you could take JT out of the equation. But Greg, anybody possibly different from the names that has already been mentioned?
No, I would just say I'm surprised that Stafford wasn't the first name brought up. To me, I think he is the clear-cut MVP, in my opinion. He plays in the best division of all the people that we've named against the stiffest competition. He, in the last 7 games, has 20 touchdowns and no interceptions. He's, pushing 40, if not 40 already, right? He's close. And so to do it at the advanced age, and we see how it can look when you get older. We see how Aaron Rodgers looks. It doesn't always look pretty. So for him to go out there and play at the level he's playing at and to manipulate defenses at the level he's doing it at and to be a guy who's done it in the postseason before, so we know he's not going to get IBS when it comes down to playing in the big game and have an issue with his bowels. You know, this guy he's a special player, a Hall of Famer, and he's playing at that level this year so far and carrying that Rams team. Now, they're a great organization with a great coach, with a great coaching staff across the board, but he has really impressed me to this point, and I don't think anyone's playing position at a higher level than him, including Drake May, who I love. Huge Drake May guy here, and I think he deserves a lot of consideration. But when you talk about the position, look at Drake. If you talk about the MVP award, the award's going to go to the quarterback. It just is. He'll beat out Jonathan Taylor unless Jonathan Taylor breaks the record. But I should say this: Jonathan Taylor deserves a lot of credit. He's pulling a tractor trailer on his back, because as they play better competition, Daniel Jones is going to play worse. And he has to pull that guy and pull this team to wins. And that's what he did over in wherever they were overseas when he played the Falcons. And he did that with 244 yards from scrimmage. So he deserves a lot of credit and has a legitimate case. I think it's going to be a 2-horse race in the end. I think Drake May will be third, but I think it'll be Stafford. It'll be into Jonathan Taylor. And I think, Tony, you're absolutely right, because you know what? You don't got to say what you said, though. You don't got to be like, if Daniel Jones continues to struggle. This is who he is. This is who he is. It's on tape. It's 6 to 7 years of this. I have experience. He's on my LinkedIn resume at this point. I was there. I did it. I did the experience, so I know what it is. And we don't have to like romanticize this thing, man. It's going to be tough. I think they better competition, and they got some tough ones coming up. So they can win those games because of Jonathan Taylor. He's got a legitimate case, but I think Stafford's the guy right now.
Hey, like I said, man, we cooking. We are cooking this episode. We only 10 minutes in. We are cooking. Everybody right there cooking with fire, hot grease, whatever you want to cook with. Peanut oil, avocado oil, probably avocado oil because that does well with high heat, and it's going to be some high heat in this episode. Greg, you start off the DPOY conversation because you have a player on your team, despite y'all not winning that many games. Brian Burns has showed up on the defensive side. Do you have him as DPOY or somebody else?
Nah, I can't have him as DPOY even though I want to. I think the defense has been too bad around him, which is a shame because he's been special. I mean, really, like, just stands out athletically out there on the field, just all over the place, deflecting passes, nearly intercepted a couple of footballs throughout the course of the year. Obviously, getting to the quarterback at a high level too. So he deserves a lot of love, and I think down the line you could get that award because he's a freak of nature athletically. He's like 6'6", and he's like a basketball player out there when he rushes the pass and putting all kind of moves on these tackles. But he has him on skates. But no, I don't think so. I think a lot of guys deserve consideration. I mean, you can't give it to Myles Garrett for the same reason you can't give it to your boy Brian Burns here because both defenses haven't been very good as well. I did hear an interesting take. I heard Kyle Hamilton's name brought up again, the safety over in Baltimore, as they kind of make their resurgence and get going again, and how special he is and how he's been the glue on that defense while they struggled. He's been the best player on the defense, and he is special as well. And I think he'll get some love when you really consider that key fact. But I mean, you look at some of these defenses out here and some of the best teams. You look at the Broncos, and they do it more collectively. It's not like there's an individual player on the roster that makes it happen for them as well. Seahawks, same thing. They're just nasty across the board. It's not like there's one guy that just is dominant there. So I'm kind of going through this exercise with you guys in real time as I think about DPOY because it doesn't feel as clear cut as the our MVP conversation was, right? When you talk about dominant, because all dominant performers are on bad teams in terms of number of sacks, or just like there's no one really picking guys off left and right here as a corner and things like that. So I'm kind of doing this exercise in real time with y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I had a lot to say, but I was at the calories.
No, I'm with you there because my take was going to be, as you were going from that, is how many wins does a team have to win for your player like a Myles Garrett or a Brian Burns to win Defensive Player of the Year? Because I don't think it's 2. Because if you end the season with only 2 wins or less than 5, let's say, I don't think you can have the Defensive Player of the Year on your team, despite just how special those guys have been, especially even Myles Garrett. I think he's been even better than Brian Burns in that respect. And it's a kind of empty calories. Like, oh, you got a 4-sack game. They still lost that game. Like, and then you can't put that on the player because it is a player award that we're handing out right now. So I have to look a different direction. We have to look at teams that are winning a little bit more, is simply where I'm at. Aiden Hutchinson, Michael Parsons. You brought up the Broncos, Nick Bonito. I think that edge rusher, aka kind of a linebacker as well, he's moving like Brian Burns, but Brian Burns of 5 years ago, he's moving just around. Like, he just simply beats guys off the edge, no problem. It's not even a move that he has to do. And Aiden Hutchinson, he doesn't only have the running for Defensive Player of the Year, but also does he qualify for Comeback Player of the Year? I mean, his leg was off of his body last year, and this man is coming back and is a wreck across the field. He doesn't have as many sacks because not everybody can sack everyone as much as Myles Garrett. But I'm telling you, you watch all the tape, he's making Derrick Henry fumble the ball. This man's everywhere. And you can't name a lot of guys on that Lions defense that get you out of bed or get you out of bed feeling a little bit worried on Sundays like Aiden Hutchinson. He's also on his ads campaign. I hate to be this kind of guy, but Aiden Hutchinson's everywhere. If you're watching TV, he's Mr. Commercial Man. So it kind of feels like if they keep winning, they keep pushing him. Aiden Hutchinson's making himself a case for not only 1 award, but 2.
Hey, Miles, can I offer you a suggestion? One of the guys I know that you like at the beginning of the year, I believe I remember correctly, you picked him for DPOY, Jared Verse.
He ain't even on the odds list.
He's on the odds list.
He's not even in the conversation right now. I mean, the
Rams
Rams
he is there.
He has a good defense. I mean, the Rams have a good defense, but I feel like it's clear and cut right now. It's Myles Garrett. Just because Sure, I hear what you guys are saying, but the Browns' defense isn't the issue. Like, it's on the other side of the ball is the reason that they suck. Like, they're still trying out Dylan Gabriel. They're still trying to prop him up. And, rookie of the week, let's vote for him. Hell no. Like, he's not the reason that they're in games. Like, Myles Garrett is on projected sack total of 20 sacks. That's like an average year for him. He can do this every year. It's almost going to become like a LeBron James situation where it's like you could give it to this guy every year if you want to because he's that game-changing for this defense. I mean, look at the stats. They're second in passing. They're like a top 5 defense. But when the offense doesn't do anything, sure, you're going to look at it, it's a 2-win team. You'd be a 2-win quarterback if you were on that team too. So what are you saying?
Well, I didn't even say anything yet. First of all, second of all, what I would say, I'd be better than Dylan Gabriel right away. I'll tell you that right now. But the other part of this that is important to note is if you're going to make this point about Myles Garrett, that's fine. But then the best defensive player in football has been Brian Burns this year. They've been a bad defense. That has nothing to do with him. It's that he as an individual has been everywhere. Tackles for loss, deflections, getting to the quarterback. He has 11 sacks, right? I mean, he could have had 12. They could have brought Caleb Williams down one time in that damn game on Sunday. So, and I don't know if he got a clean shot at him. But the point is, that guy's been incredible. So, if we're going to point out individuals and talk about how great a guy is, Myles Garrett is part of his reputation. He had a 5-sack game this year. That's amazing. That's great. They lost the game. All right. I don't know. Again, I don't know where wins factors into this, but I know that your defense can be the reason that your team is bad. So that's why Brian's out. But Brian Burns has been incredible. I argue he's been the best defensive player in football this year. And there's a real argument for that. It's a real argument. You can really have that conversation. And I can say that comfortably and not feel like a fool saying it. The guy's been incredible.
You bleed blue. That's
that's not why. That's not why. But look at the numbers. You want to try. You see, he likes to do that. He likes to throw water on my take. I'm surprised you didn't say Will McDonald. The way, because he had 4 sacks the other day. You might as well have said Will McDonald.
Almost.
That's what you should have said. Yeah,
he's got plus 7,000 odds. Well.
Griff. Either he's going to say Will McDonald, or he's going to say what's the anybody from the Eagles. He would have said Jalen Phillips, who just got there and forced that fumble. He would have said that. You know,
can we just acknowledge that and say a single Seahawks player too?
Like a cord. My fault.
Again, but you guys do it as a collective. You guys do it as it's different. It's not this, you know what I mean? Like the Giants, these guys have standout performers on their defense, but the defenses happen to be not good enough to win them games. That's the issue.
Right. Look, they're both bad teams, but one defense is a really good defense. The other one
is that because of Myles Garrett alone, though.
Look, if you take Myles Garrett off that defense, that they're giving up 40 points a week.
Really? With those cornerbacks? With Ward and them dudes?
Who else? Ward and them dudes. It sounds like
Ward is shut down. We don't talk about Ward enough. Ward is shut down. True. When you go out to Ward, if Ward gets his hands on you, just start blocking. Don't even run the route anymore. It's over. He's steering the ship. It's like Pat Surtain. He gets his mitts on you, just start blocking. Just start blocking. Don't finish the route. It's over.
That's really
because he's putting him in Pat Surtain conversation. He's not in that conversation.
Ward is a really good player.
He's a good corner.
Ward is a really good player.
He's not elite.
You can't even bet on a cornerback to even win. That's really the storyline here. There's no cornerback that's standing out. You go to the odds, you got to go plus 10,000 to even get money on a guy like Surtain or even, Denzel Ward. It's all edge guys. And have we really moved too much into that? That might be a conversation to be had because you brought up Jared Verse. Byron Youngs just has almost the same odds. Rashawn Gary has odds close-ish to Micah Parsons. Brian Burns is the only Giants one on this list that I'm looking at, so that's fair. But I did bring up Aiden Hutchinson, so I think this is all a moot point. I think he's going to win, just to end there.
He probably will. They got the wins to back it up. I think that was a good point out by you. Not a sexy pick, but the pick nonetheless.
Yeah, fair. I'm here to be right, not wrong.
I just pointed out that he brought up Myles Garrett and tried to give him an achievement award, a lifetime achievement award. I'm just telling you, if you're gonna go off stats and all that stuff, then Brian Burns deserves to be some more love than I'd give him. And I'm not saying he's gonna win it.
So Hutch is throwing passes now.
What do you mean? Because what things are winning?
Because we're talking about wins.
Yeah, no, you didn't see him line up.
Defense is okay.
The defense has been better.
Dan Campbell took over the offensive play caller this week. You're going to see Aiden Hutchinson line up as a tight end next week. I promise you that. They're going to do all the things that they need to do to keep winning because, oh my. I'm just saying defenses go away from Aiden Hutchinson the way they go away from Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. It just doesn't get talked about enough. He looks like, what's Wario's brother, like Waluigi? He looks like Waluigi. He's kind of running like this around. It doesn't look as sexy as Myles Garrett just putting a hand on a helmet and just moving a guy over and going through. Aiden Hutchinson, he's doing the dirty work, and it just really stands out in a weird way. But again, I don't think there's any wrong answers here. I think it's completely up for grabs.
Speaking of no wrong answers, I think it's safe to say that the Giants made the right answer in getting rid of Brian Daboll, relieving him of his duties. Names that have come out. One, talking about a sexy pick. The sexy pick right now is John Gruden to coach the New York Giants. Greg, now Griff, you weren't privy to this conversation before. Greg has made it apparently clear that that is not the answer for the head coaching job in New York. For our listeners who are not a part of our group chat, who probably will never be a part of our group chat because some of y'all be bugging. Greg, share with our viewers and listeners why John Gruden isn't the right pick and why was the right pick to fire actually Brian Daboll.
I mean, look, I don't have amnesia, and I think when you talk about the John Gruden conversation, it really is indicative. It's really indicative, and it really shows you where we are as a society right now here in America, because everyone just seems to forget that he had these crazy racist emails out there and all that stuff. And this is not about whether or not the guy can coach football. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. We know he's a proven coach. Sure, I think he seemed to really love Jackson Dart and his little special he did on YouTube with Barstool, right? So I get that, but I just can't co-sign the idea of them hiring that guy, an organization that has never hired a black coach, by the way, right? And I'm not saying that has a lot to do with it, but it's just the optic of it all. It matters in the grand scheme of things. For you to go out there and hire a coach who's been proven, who's done great things in the league and so on and so forth, who has a scandal on his record for being racist over emails and over text chains, and it came out, right? That's crazy. And he's also actively in a suing the NFL, suing them, the commissioner, and everybody like that. So it's just too messy of a situation to try to bring him on board. I'm not, and by the way, notice how I'm not talking about the guy's credential. I'm talking about his fit as a coach with the actual team. I think he could do the job. I do think that, but I don't think it's an opportunity that's going to be afforded to him, even though I'm sure he really wants the opportunity, of course. I'm sure he'll make phone calls. It's a coveted position. We can talk more about why it's coveted as we pivot, but I don't see him being the head coach of this organization for those reasons alone. And it's good reason. Everyone seems to forget. I don't understand why. I'm seeing former players suggest John Gruden, and it doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's like this thing didn't happen. Talk about former black players too, by the way. But what the hell? Like, what are we doing? It makes no sense. So I don't know. John Gruden's a no for me, and I feel like it's pretty obvious why he's not. Why he's a no.
I mean, to jump in right after that too, it goes back to the How I Met Your Mother, Barney's philosophy. For any viewers of that sitcom out there, new is always better, and in this case, new is really better. Like anything new. I don't know why we're in the business in college and in the NFL where we go back in time a lot. I see a Bill question mark. I can only imagine that's Bill Belichick question mark. Exactly. We just saw something like this take place. Yeah, it's a little bit differently. But John Gruden, oh my God, not only for what Greg just said, but remember how his time ended? It wasn't a good go in Las Vegas before those emails. It wasn't like, oh, we lost our Super Bowl chance because of this guy. No, this man is smoking something none of us have tried before. He cannot coach an NFL team. Go find a Ben Johnson. Go find there's a handful of NFL coordinators right now I would hire 10 times over than John Gruden. And that's coming from a guy that thought John Gruden was always a fun character. He did coach some great teams at some times, but everyone has their time. And we all need to know when to hang it up. Some people don't know when to hang it up. And unfortunately, the Giants like to make decisions like this, so it wouldn't surprise me. But this is the first I'm even hearing about this rumor. And so live, this is my reaction. I can't even believe this is even a discussion, because I know it's probably happening, but that just sounds silly. And if you're a Giants fan, cut the show. Find somebody else to watch if that happens, because that's not going to be the answer.
I mean, I think there's better options. That's all you need to know. There's better options. He's been out of the game for a while. He can, continue with his barstool BS, and that's that. Like, enjoy your retirement, John. It was an early one, but enjoy it, because I don't see why an NFL team would give him a chance. Like, for everything Greg said, like, the internet exists. Like, we still see those tweets. You look up his name, you see those emails and all that stuff. So, like, why would a team hire? And then a team like the Giants, who they're trying to, like, usher in a new era. Like, why would they almost take a step back? Like, you'd be better off keeping Daboll over bringing in Gruden at this point. But, I mean, like, Kingsbury would be a better option. I'm sure he's going to get some interviews in the offseason, and he's a great option for teams looking for that, offensive guru that everybody covets now. So, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's not with Shane calling the shots. Hopefully, once week 18 ends, his bags and boxes are packed. Because there's no way.
Let's talk about that.
Sense. Yeah, it makes no sense that I honestly think they should have just waited until the end of the season and just fired both of them. But then
I can talk about why they didn't, though.
Yeah, but firing Daboll and then letting Shane and then coming out and saying, like, oh, we're going to let him lead the head coaching. Why would you even say that? This team is 2-7. There's no reason to now in week 10 come out and say, this is the guy that's going to lead us into the next. I watched like the Jets podcast, and they call it like the McCagnon, where way back when we fired our head coach, kept Mike McCagnon to hire the new head coach, and then fired him a year or two later. Like, it makes no sense. It's better to clean house, start new, so these guys are in lockstep. It's not that hard.
Well, here's what I'll say about that. First of all, I think that Joe Shane should be fired. I think there's a better than 50% chance he does get fired at the end of the season. And that goes directly in contrast to what the statement was from Mara, where Mara said he's going to lead us and he's built a nice young core nucleus. Yeah, you can say that, nice young core nucleus of young players and the team that you like a lot, some talented nucleus of players. Okay, you can do that when you have like a first top 10 pick in every single draft since you've been here. 4 years, you've had a top 10 pick every year because you've been awful. So it's not hard. I could assemble that group. I could do it. Okay, so with that selection, that means nothing. I think the reason why they fired Daboll is simple. At least at the time they did it, is because Mike Kafka's been a hot head coaching candidate for the last couple of years. If you paid attention, right? He's been going for other jobs. He's been getting a bunch of interviews, right? He hasn't left yet because he hasn't gotten a job yet, but he's someone people like a lot. He's from the Andy Reid coaching tree. He was also a big part of the Mahomes development arc, like that. He was a big part of that whole situation in 2017, and so people respect him on the NFL for that reason. Another thing too is I don't know if it was last year or the year before that. Every year, your football team goes on Instagram or whatever, and they post their rosters and they kind of like tell you who the head coach is, blah blah blah, who's the starting quarterback, blah blah blah. They show you 53. That one, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but they listed Mike Kafka as the assistant head coach at that time, right? I think it might have been last year, going into the season, going into Daniel Jones' final ride here. And I thought that was very interesting. That was after they demoted Kafka from play calling, right? But Daboll did, and started calling the plays, and he obviously didn't do a good job. And they listed him as assistant head coach. I think reading the tea leaves, looking back at these things, is so hindsight's 2020. Looking back, I think they were setting this thing up, right? The Daboll experience was running thin on these guys, was wearing on Mara and the rest of the ownership group. Obviously, you hear about Wink and the situation with Wink and what happened there and the whole debacle where he had to leave. And apparently he and Wink really didn't get along to the point where, like, on the headset over the course of games, there was, he's yelling at dudes. Like, Daboll's yelling at dudes, blah, 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 whatever it is. Fiery personality, all that stuff. I think Daboll wore down the entirety of the organization over time. No player, no current player has had any show of support for him on social media since he's gotten fired. Right, Malik Neighbors certainly hasn't. And Malik Neighbors, when interviewed, I think it was last year, after a loss, they asked if the problem was Daniel Jones, the quarterback play, or whatever, or whoever they had playing, because it was awful. They could have me out there, and he said the quarterback ain't the issue. Like, he specifically said that, and he looked at everybody with a deadpan look and said that. And so that to me was him throwing a shot at the front office and throwing a shot at the coach. That's where that falls. If you're saying the quarterback is not the problem, right? So there were a lot of issues there under that were boiling under the surface, and it was pretty in our face. If you really think about it, looking back. I mean, Daboll did things that you don't see head coaches do. You don't see a head coach go to his starting quarterback, give him the tablet to show him how he threw a stupid interception against Griff's team on a Sunday night football game, or was it a Monday night game? I think it was a Monday night game. To Devin Witherspoon that he cribbed, and he takes the tablet, shows him the tablet, and then throws the tablet in disgust on national TV. He embarrassed Daniel Jones multiple times. You don't see a head coach leave your starting quarterback out there when the Giants got drubbed on Sunday Night Football for the opening night game, and they lose. They're down 40-0, and he's back there taking snaps after being sacked like 12 times in that game. You don't see that, right? You don't. And then another thing that Daboll did was you over here running Jackson Dart late in that Philly game. We lost a couple weeks ago. We were down 38-20 or whatever it was, and you ran him into the end zone. He got plastered on one run, and you ran him the next play again, ran QB power again. He got in the end zone, but like, you're putting him at risk, right? So there are a lot of things about Daboll here that he did down the stretch, and really throughout the entirety of his tenure, outside of year one, that haven't been good. Outside of starting 7-1 that first year he was here, they've lost all the way through. They've been awful every other, and that's just been the way it's gone, right? So I do think that Daboll. Again, it was a first-time head coaching situation, right? Obviously, he was respected around the NFL for the work he did with quarterbacks. I do believe he's a good quarterback developer, but at the end of the day, he's not a CEO of a franchise, right? And that's the biggest problem. If I pivot this thing to Joe Schoen, and Joe Schoen, you hired him when you came here, that was your choice. You're attached to him. You guys are Siamese twins. There's no reason why he should. You can't separate the two. There's no reason why he should be gone and you aren't. Right? You've missed on numerous draft picks, Evan Neal, Jalen Hyatt, who can't get on the field, Deontay Banks, who Deontay Banks literally is the bane of my existence, right? And you picked him and traded up in the first round to get him, right, as well, right? It's been awful. It's been awful, right? If you think about like just some of the mid-round picks he's missed on and the early picks he's missed on. Kayvon Thibodeau, for as good of a football player as he is, you picked him at 5, and he's a good player. But for where he was drafted and what the expectation is, he doesn't meet that expectation. That's on you. You evaluated the player. You chose him, right? That's not anybody else. It's not all Daboll's fault, but it's easy for you to sit there and let that guy go. Here's another thing that people should know about. Joe Schoen didn't fire Brian Daboll. That wasn't his decision. John Mara told Joe Schoen, yo, we're firing this guy. And then literally went above his head and then went into the locker room and had them and delivered the message to the team as well, right? So Mara's calling the shots here. This was not a Joe Schoen thing as well. And then you hear them say, oh, he's going to lead the search for a coach. And there are a bunch of reports out there saying that's not the case. That Mara and Tish are going to be the ones making the final decision on whoever the coach is, right? And that they're going to use these final 7 games to analyze Schoen, right? And see this thing through and see if they want to keep him. What does that tell you? When you have something to prove in your job, if you have to save your job, the job is no longer yours. That's the way it is. That means you're trying to get it back. That means that you lost the fumble, you're trying to get the ball back. That's what it means, right? So I personally don't think he'll be here. For all the reasons that I've stated. Obviously, there's a long track record. It can become a Giants podcast. I'm not going to do that to the people here. But what I will tell you is I really do think that this thing is over at the end of the day, and they'll be looking for a new GM as well as a new head coach as well. Some candidates, and I'll let Tone kind of jump in. I'll jump into some candidates that I like a lot. I can do it now. I can do it later. You let me know. But I have some guys I really like. First guy, Steve Spagnuolo, who was here when he won the Super Bowl. I think he deserves another chance. I know he didn't work out in St. Louis. He's been under Andy Reid for a long time, not just once but twice with the Eagles, and also now with the Chiefs, and had a lot of success. Championship winner, obviously did with us, did it with them with with the Chiefs multiple times now. So I would love to see him here and for him to bring in a good offensive mind. I'd love for him to get like a Mike McDaniel to come over here with them, right? Who's probably going to get fired, right? But a great offensive mind. Love to see that. Antonio Pierce is another guy I'm very interested in, right? If you want to talk about like just a guy who's a leader of men, I have a lot of belief in that guy's a leader of men. I know that. I love his personality. I like the way he handled himself in Las Vegas. And as you can see, he wasn't the problem there because Pete Carroll went over there and doing the same thing he's doing. He ain't doing nothing with that roster. And he brought his guy, Gino, over there too. And he ain't working out. So it wasn't him, right? It wasn't. And they loved him over there. The Vegas players loved him, and they still let him go, which is a shame. Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator over with the Packers, like him a lot too. He's got jersey ties, but like him a lot, like the defense he's running over there. That'd be a first-time guy. I am interested in Cliff Kingsbury as another guy too because of what he did with Jaden Daniels. And I thought people talk about his tenure with Arizona like it was much worse than it was. He had success early on. They were good. They had some good teams down there. They couldn't finish. But has anyone had success with Kyler Murray? More success than him since he left? So, right. So what are we talking about? I'd give him another shot. I think he'd be a good coach. I think he's a well-respected offensive mind, and he's a young guy. He can connect with these players as well. I think he can control the room. I like him a lot. And then the last guy I'll name for these purposes to close this conversation, the DC over in Los Angeles, Chris Shula as well. For me, give me anybody. I have one more, a wild card. But give me anybody who comes from the McVay tree. Anybody. I am in. And their defense has been nasty for years now. He knows what he's doing. He will fix this defense. Spagnuolo and him are my two guys that I'm really, really interested in for that reason alone, because they're going to fix that defense as well, and they're going to get the most out of these guys. Because the problem with the Giants defense isn't personnel. It's you're not getting the most out of these guys because of the way the defense is being called. And then the last guy, and now I'll be done, is Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur with the Packers. If Jordan Love loses that guy his job, because The Athletic posted something today where he said he could be coaching for his job, which is insane. They should not fire him. They did. They posted it. They said that ownership has some questions, that the front office has some questions here because they're not finishing strong and they're losing games they feel like they should win. Because they should have beat the Eagles the other night. They should have. But Jordan Love had IBS. That's the reality of it. So, and that's not Matt LaFleur's fault. And they also have injuries. But the reality of it is, and I'm not going to get into the Packers. The reality of it is Matt LaFleur is a proven coach. He knows what he's doing. He would immediately change the culture here. I would love to have him here. If he gets fired, that's the first call I'm making. I'm getting that guy right away. That's an elite coach in the league. And I hear all the Kevin Stefanski talk to the Giants. I do hear that. I hear that's Kevin Stefanski talk. I'm interested. I mean, they can interview him. I don't know how I feel about him being the coach, but there are people who I respect who like him a lot and think it'd be a good idea. I don't know.
Greg, to be honest with you, who's not on your list? Because at this point, it feels like everyone's on your list.
Well, I'll tell you who's not. Mike McCarthy, Bill Belichick. You want to give me these old ass retreads? I'm not doing it. And so there are guys who I'm not rocking with. I heard someone say Matt Patricia. I'm not doing that either. Are you your damn mind? He could be my DC, not my head coach. Come on now. I heard Robert Saleh. I actually like him. I think I'm not doing that retread, but I do like him a lot. But I'll just to answer your question. I know there are a lot of guys I named, but those are the guys they should be zeroing on, in my opinion. Zero in on those guys. Those are my guys. Like, if I hire any one of those guys, I'm happy. If you hire Mike McCarthy, 1925 Giants Drive, we'll burn.
Hey,
it ain't gonna be me, but it's
Griff. Staying in the NFC, who are your actual Super Bowl contenders in the NFC? Like, who are you actually? They the real deal. You believe in them as Super Bowl contenders, NFC side.
See, that's such a tough question because I think the NFC is pretty deep compared to the AFC right now. I think it's pretty deep. You can't write off the Eagles 7-2. Let's just start there. They don't win in a fashion that you like, but sometimes they do, like against the Vikings. You like the way they took care of that defense. You like the way they got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith involved. But then you watch them against the Packers, a really good defense. But you're just like, wait, where'd all that go from a few weeks ago? But because you win the Super Bowl last year, you can't write them off. Dare I say the NFC West has 3 teams that could be knocking on that door? the Seattle Seahawks, obviously, Matthew Stafford MVP, and the Rams and all that defense. And then, I mean, a 6-4 San Francisco team that, let's remember, Brock Purdy's only played one game, and that's been a Mac Jones 6-4 team with a great defense that's gone through the ringer of injuries. They're not going to get any of those guys back. Warner's done. Bosa's done. Those main guys are done. But the next man up philosophy only works every single year in San Francisco. Dare I say they're a competitor? Not quite, because of all those injuries. I think the rubber's going to meet the road. You look at the Lions. Let's talk about it. I think they're definitely dancing again, especially if Dan Campbell takes over the head coaching, play calling role full time. And then Tampa, I don't want to write them off. They're very banged up as well, but when they're fully healthy, Ibuka's looking good. Irving's been out for a while. Mike Evans been up and down, hurt, brought back. Godwin, he lost like half of his leg at the end of last year. I'm not surprised that he's not the same. They're a team I don't want to play any week. So if I had to pick those names, those would be the names that I'd say out of the NFC. Seahawks, Eagles, Detroit, and Tampa, I think, and the Rams. Those would be my 5 teams.
Can I just say something real quick? Do you have concerns about Sam Darnold, the big spot?
Oh yeah,
I do.
No. Oh, of course.
He's an IBS guy.
Here's what's great about our offense, though. We don't like to spread it out and toss it around. That's what the Lions like to do. They like to spread it out and toss it around. We like to keep it high and tight. We're play action. We're heavy sets. We're multi-personnel, 13 personnel. We have 3 tight ends out there all the time. We like to do what the Rams like to do. Make it easy. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what we're just trying to do across the board for our team. So, yes, I am worried. But here's the thing. You look at what Sam Darnold was able to do with Justin Jefferson, and I'm about to say something crazy. I think JSN is played better this year than Justin Jefferson did last year in terms of just production, ability, where they are in their career. Justin Jefferson's been dealing with injuries every single season. JSN is like the younger version of all of these great wide receivers. Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, so on and so on. He's in his prime. So he's built different right now. And I think that type of weapon is what can get him over the line, because Darnold is saying hike and looking right his way, and he's always open. Justin Jefferson, unfortunately, wasn't open all the time last year. He just made a lot of great plays because he's got great hands. So there's that. I am worried, though. Sam Darnold does have a history of IBS, so we'll have to see.
AFC side, Miles, Greg, who y'all have as contenders on the AFC side? Do we see a Ravens, a Bengals team make a run with Joe Burrow possibly being back, they saying, by Thanksgiving?
Is Joe Burrow going to play cornerback? Is he going to play defensive end? He's going to play linebacker? No, the Bengals aren't serious. Give me a break. We ain't going to do that. Ravens, let's have a conversation. The Chiefs, I'm not a full believer in them. That game that they lost to Buffalo was really telling. I think they lack the firepower to get the job done. I think they're being a bit arrogant. And the fact that you're rolling out these guys as playmakers outside of Rashee Rice, right? When you have Tyquan Thornton starting for you, who was a castaway from New England, and he was solid early, but it's like, yo, you talk about the postseason, you talk about dealing with the best of the best, and I just don't believe in him. I'm sorry in that way. The Broncos are not serious. I know we're talking about who is serious. I'm gonna tell you who's not. The Broncos. I see a lot of jargon and nonsense on social media about Bo Nix being, in the conversation with Drake May. No, people piss me off. Bo Nix is awful. And I've been saying it for a while now. And when we had the conversation about that 2024 quarterback draft class, I told y'all that's a guy I would not draft with a top pick. But Sean Payton was going to do what? Be arrogant enough to take him. That's Sean Payton. And arrogance is his worst enemy. Great coach, but he's arrogant. And so now you're paying the price, because you've had anybody else playing quarterback for that team that could play at a reasonable level, at an adequate level. You could be a Super Bowl contender, because that defense is disgusting, right? Teams don't score, unless you're Jackson Dart, then you do score. But that's the shameless plug. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't believe in them. I think if they had a better quarterback, they'd be better. But yeah, I think the Ravens are legit. I think the Bills are legit. I think the Bills are obviously thirsty for wide receiver help. And they went out there and got McCole Hardman, I think I came across my ticket the other day as well. So that's nice. There's a little speedster, but they got to get better at the perimeter to be winning a championship. I don't see it. If they don't run the ball, that team's going to lose. But I think Ravens, Bills really stand out to me. And I'm not sure if there's like another team that's like incredible I think a lot of our greatest teams are going to be in the NFC side this year, right? I'm talking about serious teams that can win a Super Bowl. I think Ravens, Bills, and I mean the Chiefs get an honorable mention. I guess you can't completely discount them, but you know how I feel about them. They're not going to get there, in my opinion. Travis Kelce's old and not good, and focused on all the wrong things. He has you know how Megan Stallion took all of Klay Thompson's powers? Taylor Swift took all of his powers. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. But Miles, am I missing someone? Is there someone obvious I'm not, or Griff? Is there someone obvious I'm not pointing out here in the AFC? And you guys think it is a slam dunk to get the job done, or can do it?
I mean, no, because Patriots are new to this. Like, this is a new.
I do like them though.
They're good. They're like a really good team. But like, this is year one of this new Patriots franchise. Like, it took them a while to get over the Tom Brady years, and now they've got their, new great white hope in Drake May. So hey, they're back. What can I say? I hate it because I'm a Jets fan, but they're 8-2, best team in the AFC, and they've got a solid defense. Like, you can't run on that defense. They've got Christian Gonzalez, who's a number one corner in this league, and I mean, yeah, they don't have a plethora of receivers, but they've got some good young talent. Like, Booty's pretty good. You've got Diggs, who's still, he's still recovering, but he's productive. And Demario Davis, you've got Hunter Henry, and then now they got Travion Henderson coming on strong now, finally giving him touches. So that's a team that, you fold a little bit when you're just getting there. But I think they're a well-coached team, and I think they can make a run here.
Did that win over the Buccaneers eliminate the Buccaneers from this conversation? I kind of went into that game as it being a litmus test for the Patriots. I think the Patriots answered the bell, obviously, and I think they're serious. They should now be taken very seriously. They went into Buffalo and beat those guys, something that Pat Mahomes couldn't go do a couple weeks ago, right? So I think you got to look at the Patriots as a team that could be a dark horse to get to that, make an AFC title run for sure, and potentially win that game. It's not out of the question. Vrabel's proven he's done it. Right, he's gotten there, but with the Bucks, that game left me a little concerned about them. Right, I mean, they got ran all over, a team that usually doesn't happen to, and the pressure when they sent the blitz after Drake, man, he tore them apart, hitting deep shots all over the field. So if he's gonna do that to you, you gotta go see some of these better quarterbacks in the NFC, right? And what are they gonna do to you when it's time? And I don't think you're gonna beat the Eagles, because the Eagles got the little evil mojo back, right, as well. So I don't know, man. I wanted it for the Bucks this year. I did, but I just don't really see it. Now that I think about it and I've watched them play and I see some of their warts, the makeup's off, right? The Maybelline is off. I see for who you are. I woke up in the morning next to you and I didn't like what I saw. So that's the thing. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out about them. But maybe I'm wrong. I know Griff looked like he was nodding.
They're a good team. They're just really banged up right now.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is out for maybe the year. Godwin, he won't be the same this year. Who is it? Bucky Irving, he might not come back this year. Like, now the shoulder's the issue. Like, the ankle's fine. Shoulder's the issue. So that's what they're really missing is Bucky Irving is one of the best running backs in the NFL. He showed it last year. That's a big piece they're missing right there. And I mean, you're seeing it right now. Rashad White can't get it done. The other running back, he's good, but I mean, it's hard to replace a Pro Bowl, All-Pro talent in Bucky Irving. So
I think he just got suspended for PEDs too. I think he's out for a while.
Yeah, the other running back got suspended. So
who? Rashad White? Is that who?
No, the Williams guy, like Josh Williams or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, they got a running back that got suspended. It may not be the one you talking about, Miles.
If he did that on the practice squad, that's crazy. We're getting PEDs on the practice squad. It was big news. If Adam Schefter's tweeting about it, it's big news. Threatening.
That's crazy, bro. Like, on the practice squad. Shador not even doing that. He on the practice squad. So that's wild.
There's no amount of PEDs going to help him get over the hump with Kevin Stefanski, okay? There's none. Kevin Stefanski got him buried. Kevin Stefanski is ready to lose his job, right, and never play Shador. That's where he's at. He's like, I'd rather lose my job. I'm gonna lose it.
He's gonna sleep. He's gonna sleep perfectly. He will sleep perfectly fine next year. If he does not have a job and it's because he didn't play him, he's not gonna lose any sleep. Kevin Stefanski is not gonna lose an ounce of sleep.
Well, I think he knows he can get hired somewhere else. Have y'all heard the Kevin
Of course.
Stefanski propaganda train that's starting up right now? Where they're throwing his name off of the Giants job and these other jobs, like, yo, you should hire him. He's a great coach. You hearing all that?
I don't think he's not a bad coach. He's been what,
two-time coach of the year. Two-time coach of the year.
And for that team, coaching, winning awards in Cleveland, they suck down there. Like, it's so hard to win.
The first coach, guys. He's the first coach in our lifetime to bring some level of stability and competence to Cleveland. In our life, it's never happened. It's never been done. He did that, so he deserves credit for that. And there are plenty of people who I respect that say that Shedeur is one of the most overhyped draft prospects of their lifetime. That's what they say. Griff is one of them. That's true. That's all right. Griff, you're gonna have to repost that clip again too. That's all right. And put your name on it. But what I will say about it is, yo, how do you not think that Shedeur can't give you the spark that Jackson Dart gave the Giants? I'm not comparing the players. Trust me, Jackson Dart's him. I'm just saying you don't know until you try it. And I think you would get some juice from that. You'd sell out the game. It'd be lively out in Cleveland. You know, it'd be the biggest public appearance since Braun was there. You know, they don't go out very much. And you get people in the stadium and you get a lively game and you might get a win. The team must play inspired. I think you need to make a change. Dylan sucks.
I kind of have to just jump in here as a host because I know what Tone's trying to do here, and I love it. And Greg, you stole his thunder right here because he brought up Shedeur on purpose, and it ain't for the Browns. He's trying to go a different direction. So I got to give my snaps to Tone because I know where you're headed next. So, Greg, we've heard enough of this propaganda about Cleveland. We all agree. Tone, bring it to where you're about to bring it.
Propaganda is crazy.
Hey, 16-19 record. 1 winning season, 0-1 in bowl games, 2-8 against ranked opponents, never ranked higher than 16. Reading off those stats right there, would you say that was a success or failure as a coach for their tenure?
It truly depends on where they were. If you were at LSU, your ass getting fired.
All right, so I'll break it down. I'll break it down for our listeners so that they know the rundown, the people on our show. That is Deion Sanders. Some call him Coach Prime, whatever you want to call him. That's his record, his resume at Colorado.
16-19, you said, right?
They were 1-11 before he got there.
Yeah, success.
They were not a good program. That was a Division II program. Dude, was playing as a D1 team. Like, he came over there. Everybody's going to the games. They had some success. Like, first year, all right, they get a pass. Second year, they go to a bowl game.
Something they jumping with Shedeur and them.
Yeah, they hadn't seen since Cordell Stewart was there. So, like, to say that it was a failure, that means you had high expectations for Colorado, which, I mean, sure, Deion Sanders, but like, yeah, exactly. Why would you have high expectations? They're not getting top recruits. Nobody's lining up to play for Deion in cold ass Colorado. So,
because he's where he's at. Yeah, he's in Colorado because TCU and the other programs didn't want to hire him. So he went down to cold ass Colorado, like you said, and he has overachieved there. To be quite honest, given the circumstances, given the history of the program. I said it when you did the anonymous thing. I said it's about where you are. If you are in Texas A&M, if you're at LSU and that's your record, your ass is getting fired. Period. If you're at Colorado, build them a statue. 1-11. Yo, they should have recruited me to play football. At that point, I had mad eligibility left. At that, like, as bad as they've been. I mean, like, come on, man. This is a free for all back over there. No, it's been. I don't want to say success, but it's been a more than adequate performance by Deion Sanders there. More than adequate.
And we have to almost take out the wins and losses. It's been a success for the state of Colorado. It's been a success for the program. It's been a success for its fans. I mean, just talk about the hope that ran through that city for that first season that came around. It was a success for ESPN, College Game Day, Fox Noon, whatever. It was a success. But when we really think about it, he didn't turn the program around in any actual way, because now it went up for a season. You get your kids drafted off the team, which was, let's talk about the ultimate goal here. Not just them, Travis as well, but everybody else that's on said team in the NFL right now, doing well or not. It's just, I can't just call it a success for football's sake in a football program. In a program where you can pay anyone to show up. Texas Tech, welcome to the top 10 team. BYU, there's not that many Mormons out there. No way. Like they're going and getting guys to come play in cold Utah. And they have two great teams in Utah year after year after year. So this whole, they can't play around. That's where you go take players from if you're Colorado. You go to Utah and you say, I want that player, I want that player. Where's the money? Colorado, unfortunately, doesn't have the boosters to do so. They barely have enough money to pay Dion. So it's just, I wouldn't call it a success. And also a lot of backstepping from a lot of people right now, because not you two specifically, but the media trying to make this argument that it has been a success on the field. Look at the records. I mean, we're not even talking about them anymore, but they were the coolest thing since sliced bread for 3 weeks the first year, and then all of last year as they win, lose. They look like the Bengals. Like it was Joe Burrow and Shadur Sanders, 40 points a game. That defense couldn't stop anybody, even though Travis was on that side. So I can't go with success on this. I don't think it's been a success in terms of football, but it's been a success in terms of season tickets, ESPN coming by, people wanting to, but that's going to go away. You know, that's not going to sustain. I think success is you build a program into something that continues to lead on. He's unfortunately not doing that, even though Colorado is not necessarily the spot. It's a very proud program. If you go back in time, I know it's easy to go back in time 4 or 5 years. Go back a little bit further. They have been a pretty proud program out there in Colorado.
I mean, I think this year was always going to be kind of like a transition year, though, because, yeah, you lose the Heisman Trophy winner and the player of the year in Shadur. So, like, whatever quarterback they brought in, I don't know where they got this guy from. He sucks. And they got the 5-star kid. Play him. That's going to be the guy that you need to develop and focus your rest of the season on. Like, the season's lost at this point. There's no bowl. There's nothing to be excited about as a Colorado fan. But if you develop a quarterback, then you recruit. Like Dion, you could say all you want. He can recruit. He can get some of these guys to come down here that why else would – if any other coach was coaching Colorado, they wouldn't even be on their list. But Dion has all these kids put in Colorado on their list because of him. So, sure, it's a transition year. Next year, things could change. Maybe they win 8 games. So, like, we got to give them a little more time. It's only been, 2.5 years now in Colorado?
I say next year is that last year. This is for me. Fine transition year. Oh, that sounds great. That's cute. I've been saying it since Jackson State. He doesn't pick the right coaching staff. They don't know how to develop. Maybe he's not good at coaching. Maybe he's more of a better recruiter. At some point, and fine, we'll give him next year. Dion is going to have to answer for the football stuff at some point. 40-0 at halftime is inexcusable. That's coaching. Maybe you come out. You've been Pat Shurmur. He can't do this. We're going to demote him. Then you need to have a conversation. Yo, I picked the wrong coaching staff. At some point, there's going to have to be some answers, some questions being answered on the football side. Maybe you shouldn't have brought in Warren Sapp. He don't seem like he know what he's doing. It's some at some point. So maybe next year we have that conversation, because all that is great. The kids, they're being better and they have good GPA. That's great, because they're not going to the NFL. They at least get their degrees. They some smart kids, not on the football field, but in the classroom. He has them doing what they're supposed to do. He has them reaching some of their dreams. They get to meet Lil Wayne twice during the season. Ice Cube comes and speaks to them. Oh, yeah, that's great. Football wise, Deion's going to have some questions to answer next year. Griff mentioned something too, right? He said, what he really has done everywhere he's been is bring hope. There's hope brought to each of these programs, each of these cities. On the flip side, there was hope over in Dallas that this would be a really, really good season. You bring back Clay. Clay seems happy. He's with Meg. Anthony Davis. He comes in a little hefty, but he says, don't worry. I'm going to lose the weight during the season. It's nothing to worry about. Trust me. We have Cooper Flag. He's going to come in. D-Lo, he said, I'm going to get everybody in his right spots. Nico Harrison, though, has been fired. We're talking about the biggest surprise of the year, but I don't think that was a surprise that Nico Harrison got fired. Greg, I know, has a breakdown for y'all of why he should have been fired.
Well, yeah, I think you fire Nico Harrison the second the idea is brought up. And I've heard enough now. I've heard enough behind the scenes stuff because we're far enough removed from it to know that the reason, where this all, the genesis of this stupid idea, the worst idea in NBA history, was because after they lost to the Celtics, they thought that he'd come back and he'd be in trim, he'd be in great shape, he'd be looking like Gunner walking into the facility, and that's not what happened at all. Obviously, he came in heavier, right? And I think that's when the wheels started turning and everything got set in motion around this idea of trading him. But what I really want to talk about with this situation is not the fact that he got justifiably fired. Dumont's just as much to blame, but if you the owner and the governor of the team. But the reality of it is, the reason why they fired him is because the fans are insatiable right now. They're furious and rightfully so. I think I saw something about the first home game they'd had in years that hadn't sold out pretty recently. The fans aren't showing up in the same vein. Team merchandise sales are down. People are pissed. They're furious. They didn't want to see AD's face, right? They're just so mad. They're so mad about the whole thing. And so I think that he got let go for a business perspective, right? The fact that the business was flopping, the business is hurting, and I think that's what made them get rid of Nico because anytime they're losing the game, it's F Nico, it's fire Nico in the arena. That's what they're saying, right? So all types of expletives. So I think that's a big part of the reason why he's no longer there anymore. Obviously, I think it's the biggest reason why. When the real reason why he shouldn't be there is because Luka got slim. He got on Ozempic. He looks great. He's hooping out in LA at a high level. He's doing what I always said. I always say to people, I always say on this podcast a million times, the people know that is one of 3 players in the world, right? Luka Doncic, who is a supernova type of player where if that guy is going good on your team, you can win any night in the NBA. And he can turn it on every single night. He's a performer. He's going to do it every night. And he's just one of the best guys. And big moments don't bother him. He's special. It's Jokic, it's him, it's Shea. And I still think Giannis might have a case in that conversation. Those are the guys that are like, your team orbits around them, right? That's the thing. So to trade that guy at that age, even if he was overweight, when he was overweight, he went to the finals. So how do you replace that? How do you quantify that? You quantify it with Anthony Davis, Max Christie, not even Austin Reeves. You didn't get Austin Reeves, which is crazy. And you get a first-round pick in 2029 or something. That's how you quantify it? That was his value? It's the worst trade in NBA history. It absolves the Nets. The Nets had the worst trade in NBA history for most of my life. It's true, Billy King. If I ever see Billy King, me and him are gonna have to go at it. But we're gonna have to put him up. But the reality of it is that when you think about this thing, like it's the worst trade ever for all those reasons I just named. And I think that Dumont is sitting here acting like he fired him because it was about the Luka trade. No, it's not. It's because of how it affected the business. If the fans had gone along with this thing and they've remained relatively nice about the situation and things have been okay, you wouldn't have fired him. You'd have kept him. But you didn't keep him because you don't know basketball. Anybody who knows basketball knows you don't trade Luka Doncic. You got your mind. Any guy with that haircut you can't trust. Anyways, I hope they can figure it out. I will say the path back to relevancy for Dallas is to trade AD. And get whatever you can. And I would trade Kyrie too. I'd blow it up. I'd blow it all up. And I'd reset the timeline around Cooper Flag. That's what I would do. I would blow it up. You're not going to win with this team. Clay has got his head up. Meg D Stallions, you know what? So it's going well, and I'm happy for him. By the way, man, like that's great. Do your thing. But it's not working, and you can't tell me there's no correlation. He has not played well the last few years. I'll give you that, but this year has been laughably bad, and it makes no sense. So that's weird. That's just weird to me. And then you got Clay. Kyrie has always been injury prone. AD has always been prone to what we're seeing. Can we talk about how the Dallas Mavericks bailed the Lakers out of AD and aging AD? Because he would have been there for forever if he hadn't gotten traded. If this trade hadn't come up. It's crazy, right? How they bailed them out. These bigs, these 6'11" dudes, when they hit that 30-year-old mark and they start going to the mid-30s, things go downhill. Unless you're Embiid, then it just happens really early because you just can't lay off the smash burger and whatever and cheesesteaks. But you know what I'm saying? So I just really want to point that out. I think it's important, right? How the Mavericks saved the NBA by making the Lakers a powerhouse once again. That's when the NBA is at its best, to be honest.
Griffin Miles, on the flip side, any actual surprises so far this season? Like I said, Nico wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there in Dallas. Get ready. Conspiracy theory about your team going back to Vegas or something like that might start popping up because that's called a business decision, and they might that might creep back up. So just put that in the back of your head. Nothing to actually talk about.
Blow it up.
When we talk about surprises, we need to talk about Detroit. Top of the East right now, 9-2. Cade's putting up 45 shots. Don't know if that's a good strategy. Wrote a thread today, got absolutely flamed because I guess I didn't get the context of they're injured. 6-7 guys aren't playing tonight. I'm like, yeah, there's still no instance in the NBA where somebody shoots 45 times. That's my whole premise to that. But they win. They beat the 1-10 Wizards in overtime, and he's carrying the ball in a way that when you look back to that draft, Cade Cunningham was clearly the number one guy off the board, and Detroit made a wonderful decision taking him. And I'm really excited to see what this team has, especially in a wide open East, because that was the whole offseason. We were like, who's going to take that step? I'm actually very surprised Indiana's 1-10 without Miles Turner and Halliburton. That hurts me because I really was rooting for some of these guys to Nembhard, take that step. You have your chances. Here's your reps. Go for it. That surprises me. Also, shout out to Rush real quick. We got to talk about this because he did decide to put on tape that he thought the Wizards could be a potential playoff team this year. If he's listening, make sure he's listening to this. 1-10 to start the year, just again to remind him on that. I don't think they're on their way to that playoff spot. Rush.
He's like, what did he say?
Rush said they could be a playoff team. I might be misquoting him. I would hate to misquote the mayor of NBA threads.
Is this true?
He's too high up in the castle. He's saying things like that, guys. I gotta say that. So, he said they could be a sneaky playoff team. Again, misquoting it, but that's how quotes go. Again, it's telephone at this point. Bring back up that clip tone. I know you got it. Another thing that's kind of surprising, the Clippers. I know they're the unk team of the NBA. Just everybody's old out there. Chris Dunn, Miles, come on. How are we liking him still? Still a little iffy on Miles? Okay, yeah. But 3-7, it's kind of like James Harden is having to bring back the clock, but he only brings it back for one half. And you're like, wow, James Harden's got 25. I mean, look at it. He's right back there. He put up 25 in the first half, like 6 for 7 from behind 3. It's like beautiful. And then they just shut down in the second half. It is a loaded Western Conference. So 3-7 doesn't surprise me with the teams that they're playing. But the Clippers have this off switch, and it's kind of like their owner having an off switch and making a weird investment into Kawhi Leonard this offseason or a couple seasons ago with all of that. So I think just a little PR nightmare going on in LA at that point, but everything else kind of chalk it up. I don't really have too many surprises. The good teams are good. OKC, what up? Denver, you're good. San Antonio, welcome to being what the Bears used to be, where you're just like, they might be good one year. We got Caleb Williams. We're going to be good. They actually have Wemby, and he's actually doing good. So it's great to see a team like that take that step forward. So I don't know. That's what I got for you, Tone.
Miles, ending off the show. Any surprises for you, my guy?
I'd say the Heat leading the league in points. Like this team, they're just a well-coached team. And Norman Powell's averaging 24. I mean, that guy's a professional scorer. And Jaime off the bench. He's a dog. Like, that kid is really good. And I know he didn't really play as much in his sophomore year last year as we thought, but like this year, 17, 7, and 5 off the bench. That's really good. So I know we didn't have high expectations for this Heat team coming in, but hey, Spoelstra knows how to coach. He knows how to get the most out of a team. And they're still missing Tyler Hero. Like he hasn't played this year. So let's see what this team's going to look like when he does come back. So dark horse top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. With all the injuries, like Boston, they're going to teeter up and down as the season goes on. Will they tank? Who knows? I'd hate for them to get AJ or one of these top guys because weird stuff happens in the lottery sometimes. But yeah, the Heat, they're fun to watch.
I'm just trying to say this with the Celtics real quick. Jaylen Brown, most expensive player in NBA history, biggest contract of all time. They cannot be this bad with Jaylen Brown. Like, are we forgetting what he's making in terms of NBA dollars? This man's up there with everybody else that's making that type of money. Jason Tatum, welcome to being the most popular guy in Boston because, gosh, you're the face of the franchise. But Jaylen Brown's making all that money. I just don't think it's getting talked enough about how poor he's looked with. It's be a professional scorer. Be Norman Powell. Just lead the team. This is your season to throw it up. But maybe the coaches are like, hey, it's okay if you miss 45% of your shots.
Do you think he makes left turns when he drives, or does he does he make like 2 rights to get where he has to go?
He goes in a circle, that's for sure.
Same thing with his Beijing on his hair, but we won't go into that. I know Greg he put in the chat, there's a big surprise that we missed.
Yeah, one that's right in front of us. The clear dissension of and implosion of Ja Morant and what's happening over in Memphis right now, and the fact that he's at war with his coaching staff and at war with the front office, right?
Is that a surprise, though, Greg? Sorry to cut you off. Is that a surprise?
It is a surprise. It's a surprise that he's going out there quitting on his team. When I watched the way he played against the Lakers 2 weeks ago in that cup game, the first cup game, and he actively quit in that game. Like he did not. He chose to stop playing while still being on the floor and went into the locker room and basically told them that he doesn't like the coaching staff essentially, and that he's out on that. He's out on them, and he's having real problems with them, and was very forward about that, and got suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. I'm washing away the stats. He's in his prime physically and athletically. He's still a very skilled player. The guy that we've seen is still there. This is him actively protesting that organization. He's doing it. He thinks this is the way to go about him being upset. He thinks this is it, and it's not. It's not going to work out his way. It doesn't really work out in NBA history, to be quite honest. You have to be a very, very good player to kind of overcome this thing. I think he does get traded by the trade deadline. I think this is an untenable situation. I don't think they're going to fire their coach because of him. I don't believe it, because they fired Taylor Jenkins, and I didn't see a whole lot wrong with Taylor Jenkins and what he'd done from a wins and loss record. Okay, they're not going to fire this European guy. They're not doing it. He's going to be there, and so it's a very interesting thing to follow. It's a surprise in the sense that I never would have seen it coming. Okay, a guy we talked about his face of the league, but then he came out guns blazing one year, and we had to put that narrative to bed, right? And quickly because of the whole situation with him and firearms. So I don't know, man. I think it's something we have to definitely address and look at and keep an eye on as one of those surprising storylines in the NBA season, because it certainly is one as well. I thought that was something huge as well that had to be pointed out. If we were going to talk about surprises, that's a surprise. Who would have seen that coming from this guy? And now we're talking about trade suitors. I know I see Griff saying that. I guess Griff. Well, I mean, he's immature, but I didn't think the guy was going to come out there and not play basketball and quit on his team. I never saw that coming. I can honestly say
he's got deals off the court somewhere. I don't know why his agents aren't in his ear being like, you could make your contract's almost up. We're trying to get extensions here. We're trying to talk about that next step.
I'm sure they are.
But he's actively trying to go against that. He lost his deal with Nike across the board because of all that shenanigans the other seasons. He's also very injury prone too. So teams aren't going to want to just trade for him, not only for the headache of not being necessarily always bought into playing basketball, but he's very injury prone. I mean, he's the Derrick Rose model, not even Derrick Rose. He's like a skinnier Derrick Rose, where you don't want to see guys like that in the air for too long, especially when you're just jumping and landing on hardwood all the time. Pause on that, but continue. It's just, I don't know about Ja Morant. I saw it coming in terms of, if you told me something like this was going to happen this year, I would have been like, let me bet the over on that, because it's
understandable. But what I tell you is, I've watched sports long enough to know that this ain't going to stop nobody from going out and trading for him. He has a history of being a good basketball player in the NBA, an all-NBA performer. I think someone's going to go out there and trade for him. I'm telling you, don't sit here and think that he has no value out there. Someone's going to go after him. I heard the Timberwolves are sniffing around and go pair him up with Ant. The second that guy feels any kind of level of motivation to go play again, he feels like he's getting what he wants from the coaching staff. He's going to go out there and play at a high level because it's still there. He hasn't declined physically yet. Now, when that time comes, we can have a different conversation because I was the main guy out here banging the gavel, telling people, hey, when Russell Westbrook can't be basketball Tarzan anymore and the athleticism wanes, which it has, he's going to look like the way he looks right now. He's going to put on film, but he's putting on film every night right now. By the way, he had a good week last week. I'm going to acknowledge that. But overall, all in all, he has not been great. And that's why he's been bouncing around from team to team, right? So that's the reality of it. But that's a different conversation. My point is that I think that Ja still has value out there. I think teams will go after him. And look, that's a fair point, Griff. If the character concerns are real, that's fair. I don't know, man. I just think people play for the bread, and for him to try to actively shoot himself in the foot, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by saying that. All pun intended.
Hey, Ja Morant, man. Guns are blazing, guns issues, firearm issues. But I told y'all when this episode started, there was some firearms coming this episode. It was guns a blazing this episode. Another great episode. And of course, I mean, what would you expect? Griff's on the show. We was checking the numbers earlier, the collaboration numbers. When we collaborate on YouTube, crazy numbers. And that's because when we have Griff on the show, you already know he stays ready, so he ain't got to get ready. Bitch, mom, we out. Peace.